Good evening and welcome to Match of the Day. Up to date again and still on Saturday nights, soon after 10. And as usual, we've two matches for you. Later, we shall see the Midlands derby between Aston Villa and Coventry City, but we start with star-studded Manchester United against last season's Cup finalist Watford. Your commentator, John Watson.
What a stadium in which to start the season. Manchester United look like being Britain's best supported club for the 13th consecutive year. And there's a first taste today of the demanding Old Trafford stage for 3 summer signings. Jesper Olsen, the Danish international, described by Ron Atkinson as a Steve Coppell with tricks. Gordon Strachan from Aberdeen, where he won a catalogue of honours. And Alan Brazil, for whom Old Trafford was a lucky ground in his Ipswich and Tottenham days. Their signings were largely financed by the sale of Ray Wilkins, but he's not the only name missing. Stapleton, McQueen and McGrath are all injured, Muren and Arthur Graham not selected. But 2 20-year-olds there who cost nothing. Graham Hogg at number 6, Mark Hughes at number 9. Watford's 2 unsettled players are both included, although I firmly believe number 8, Mo Johnston, will stay with the club. Number 10, Kenny Jackett, is only on a conditional contract, and George Riley's future could be interesting. Now he's dropped to substitute to make way for Luther Blissett, whose year in Milan earned Watford a profit of £450,000. The referee this afternoon is David Hutchinson from Harrogate. And the groundsman here, Gordon Loughnane, has got the Old Trafford pitch looking at its best for several years. Although I'm sure he would appreciate a spot of rain, he isn't allowed to water it artificially in the present state of things. But it's sunshine here for the packed crowd, and Manchester United in a nice, smart, new red strip, playing from left to right. Remy Moses in quickly, had to be. Strachan. Robson. In trouble against Blissett. The England captain caught in possession. And for him, that's a crime in his own half. And Luther Blissett let him off the hook. That was Les Taylor forward. By Barnes. Strachan for Manchester United. Robson's begun a forward run in the inside left position. He's got yards of space. Well cut out by Nigel Callaghan. But still, United press with Orbiston. Now it's Robson. Orbiston couldn't reach it. Here's Barnes. Rostron in the attack here. Mo Johnston in a good position to Blissett's right. Hogg. And now Bardsley. And once again Johnston threatens. He's ahead of Orbiston here. And Barnes is coming in, and it was touched back by the Manchester United defender, Kevin Moran, who might feel fortunate not to concede an own goal. Forward by Olsen. It was an awkward ball for any defender to deal with that, because Johnston had got clear. But credit Moran in that he didn't put enough weight on the ball to send it back over his own goal line. And United escaped. This is Taylor. Orbiston's header, Olsen. Moses. Just look at the length of that kick by Gary Bailey, deep into the heart of Watford territory. Alan Brazil. Now Robson. Touched by Blissett. Good challenge by Robson and then cleared by Sinnott. That was Strachan finding Hughes. Brazil's in the centre, so is Olsen. Oh, good header by David Bardsley. Right off the head of Brian Robson, effectively. Splendid defensive header. But there's more to come, perhaps, from Manchester United here. Strachan. Duxbury. Moses. Brazil. Robson setting himself here for a shot. And good challenge by Kenny Jackett. Well, fullbacks have all sorts of jobs to do, and that was cover by David Bardsley on a cross, and how well he flicked the ball out from danger. Rostrom. Driven low for Blissett to turn, and off Hogg that came. Together. Olsen has switched to the right wing, but he had no chance of reaching that. Strachan. Oh, he's taken it through himself. The referee had played an advantage. And Strachan fouled by Sherwood, penalty. Now, that was a very interesting piece of refereeing. Not because of the penalty award, that seemed fairly obvious. But what the referee did, he acknowledged the linesman's flag against another Manchester United player who was not interfering. Therefore, Strachan, who brought the ball through from an onside position, was allowed to go. It was almost back to the Leeds West Brom incident in '71. Les Taylor has protested, as Leeds did then, but the referee exercised his right to say that player was not interfering. And Gordon Strachan will take the penalty himself, having brought the ball through and been brought down. Will it be his first goal in the Cannon League? It is. And it puts Manchester United into the lead after 23 minutes. No doubt about the penalty award, in my opinion, as Strachan tried to go round the goalkeeper, but a talking point in the way the referee allowed the game to go. Despite the linesman's flag, there was a player in an offside position, but in the opinion of David Hutchinson, he was not interfering or seeking to gain an advantage. And those who like to see the play flow and dislike the offside flag will not be complaining, because Strachan, who brought the ball through, was clearly onside the whole time. Here's Barnes. So Manchester United, who have defeated Watford for the last 2 seasons, are in the lead here. They won at Old Trafford 4-1 last season, United, and 2-0 the season before. And the supporters have seen the first of the 3 signings open his account, Gordon Strachan. That's forward by Taylor. Good turn by Hughes away from Sinnott, but he couldn't find the finish. He's been sharp in the pre-season's games, Mark Hughes, scoring goals more regularly than Norman Whiteside, which is why he's got the vote in that position. But after turning beautifully, he'd be disappointed with that shot. Here's Hughes wearing Stapleton's shirt. Quite a few players here with a chance to enhance their claim for recognition at Old Trafford. Barnes has already done that in an England context, and here's another international, Blissett. Callahan. Well worked by Callahan. Blissett. Hogg diving in a bit. Blissett still. Johnston. Good save, Bailey. Ball's not out yet, though. Here's Bardsley. And Strachan will look for an outlet here. And how well he waited until he found the right one. Good play. And Brazil with Steve Terry covered. Just back there, though, Gary Bailey making his first important contribution of the afternoon. It was a dangerous near-post situation, and Mo Johnston usually want to capitalise on those. Bailey closed him down. Foul by Terry on Brazil in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Strachan with the kick. He's had more of the game than Olsen, actually, but here's the latter. Taking on Bardsley. Blocked. Twice. I think David Bardsley's relishing this challenge today. But it's Manchester United who lead at half-time with a goal from the penalty spot by Gordon Strachan. But what a week for that incident to occur. One of our most interested viewers, surely Ray Tinkler of Boston, the man who in 1971 allowed West Brom's goal at Leeds, was strongly criticised by Jack Charlton only this week in our action replay series on BBC One. But today, on the first day of the new season, David Hutchinson of Harrogate does exactly the same thing. Not interfering, he said. Strachan was allowed to go on because he'd started in an onside position, and it all happened from there. The linesman with the red flag, Tom Berry, raised it, read the referee's intentions and put it down. Good teamwork there, and no riots here, and significantly, no complaints bar one from Watford, who took the decision in good grace. Frank Stapleton won't be able to play for Manchester United for at least another month. He's had some floating bone removed from one of his knees. Arnold Muren, though, is fully fit. It's just that he can't get into the side on this opening day of the season. The Watford manager, Graham Taylor, by the way, is celebrating the 7th anniversary of his first league match in charge of the club today. It was on the opening day of the 77-78 season, and it took place just down the road from here at Stockport, of all places, in the 4th division, watched by 3,000 people. That's where Watford's remarkable rise, in fact, started. They won 3-1 that day. They're a goal down here, but so much has happened in those intervening years. Here's Mark Hughes. So Sinnott's long throw is now needed from a defensive position. Back by Orbiston, though. That was Terry. Now it's Olsen. Saw Brazil early. Robson's trying to get into the box now. Their volley was by Hughes. And that was a fine effort. It was set up on the left-hand side by Jesper Olsen. And Mark Hughes, who had that remarkable record last season of scoring on 3 different debuts, Milk Cup, Canon League and International for Wales, wasn't too far off opening his account for the new season there. Moses and Moran both going in there on Mo Johnston. Taylor chipped it across towards Terry, and the header by Robson gives Watford the corner. Johnston takes up that far post position on corners, hoping to snaffle something from a flick on. Callahan to take. Barnes up with Robson. It's going to come to Jacket. Oh, and right across. And a corner given. Kenny Jacket, who volleyed. And the touch must have been by a Manchester United player. And they were lucky. And these are causing some difficulties to Manchester United. Callahan again. Bailey under challenge there. From Johnston. Just wanted a touch there and Watford were level. Here's Robson. And that's Brazil. And he's got past Terry here. Brazil with the shot. Just a word about Steve Sherwood too. His handling's been good today. Offside against Hughes. Just been a moment or two when he's been tested with snapshots and crosses, Steve Sherwood, and once again he starts the new season first choice, doesn't allow any criticism to affect him, and that's good to see. Bardsley. And now Kevin Moore. Barnes really teasing them there, finding Taylor. That's a good effort, and it required a fine save by Gary Bailey. Les Taylor let him fly. It's come back to Callahan. Steve Terry is still forward. Nose is clear. Manchester United not sitting too easily on their one-goal lead. Watford having, again, plenty of the play. Callahan, really driven, and corner off Alveston, I would think, the minute it was struck. He can drive the ball beautifully at times, this number 7 of Watford's. Recall those goals at Notts County last season. And doesn't seem to bother him which foot either. Robson's header away. Strachan just got a touch. Callahan. Oh, and here's Johnston with a chance. And still, and Terry! Well, that was a presentable opportunity for Steve Terry. He's so keen to do well, the number 5. Sometimes he's over-anxious, and he was there. So, Norman Whiteside appears off the bench, and not the happiest of Manchester United debuts for Alan Brazil. Popular player with the supporters is Norman Whiteside. Alan Brazil will perhaps need rather longer to fit into this United setup, as Jesper Olsen makes the run. By Simmett. So now Whiteside waits in the centre with Robson and Hughes. Strachan to Duxbury. Into Olsen. Moses winning it back from Jacket. Strachan. Duxbury. Whiteside calling for it. Off to Robson. But blocked by Taylor. Now, can Manchester United come strong in the last 15 minutes? This is Brian Robson. And now Whiteside. And Bardsley throws himself forward to deprive Hughes. Here comes Albiston. There's no power in that. Oh dear, Whiteside from Sinnott's back pass. Whiteside still, play on, says the referee. And Brian Robson, and a good save by Steve Sherwood. Well, he got away with the actual challenge, Sherwood, on Whiteside, who was looking for a penalty. But when the referee said play on and it was pulled back to Robson, give the Watford goalkeeper due credit. Olsen takes a quick corner to Strachan. And Sherwood challenged by Whiteside. Foul. No goal. Steve Sherwood's heart might have been in his mouth after what happened in the FA Cup final with Andy Gray, but the referee here, well placed, says foul by Norman Whiteside. George Riley, who played in the FA Cup final and was the player left out to make way for Blissett, is now going to come on. And John Barnes has gone off. Just look at that. The first day of the season, 53,668 inside Old Trafford. Side for Blissett. Took that nicely. And he's got runners to his left, and what a good ball. Johnston. Jacket outside him if he sees him. Well, he was asking a bit much, but in the meantime, the late challenge by Moses, after Johnston had actually released the ball, brought the play back for a free kick. And as we're in the last minute of normal time, this could be Watford's last chance. And he fired a useful-looking shot, did Johnston, but it was just too high. Nevertheless, it personifies what's been a good last half hour for Watford here. They've gone and chased the game, and it would look as though they've just failed to get anything out of the match. But there may still be an opportunity in stoppage time. Play to the last has always been the Liverpool maxim, and Watford have pushed Terry, Sinnott, Riley all over to the far side. And there's Riley, and there's Blissett, and here's Callaghan! Yes, they've done it! In stoppage time, Nigel Callaghan proves that you should never give up. And Graham Taylor dances a jig on the touchline. Watford supporters celebrate, and Manchester United, frankly, can't really complain. Watford have had the better of the second half. They sent the big men up. Riley, the substitute, got that important touch. It flew across the goal, and Callaghan, who's shooting from that angle, is something we've admired before, found the far corner of the goal. And it came in the last attack of the match. Watford go home with a point on the day when Manchester United unveiled their new talent, but certainly didn't turn on the style the way they would have hoped to do. Gordon Strachan's goal in the first half edged them ahead. It was a point too for Football's Debating Society this weekend. But Watford may feel in the light of that justice was done in the end. A good goal by Nigel Callaghan, making the final score at Old Trafford. Manchester United won, Watford won.
And without question, Watford earned their point and should be among the front runners. But Ron Atkinson will have to work hard to earn his salary, as will one or two of his players, if they're to justify the club's faith in them and their supporters' underwriting of the costs involved. One way or t'other, events at Old Trafford will command attention.
So we're all alone, la 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 la, what we're gonna do now, girl?
Aren't conversations magical? Like walking through someone's thoughts. And the beauty of this is that you get to know each other better. That's why with Orange Pay Monthly, you can get unlimited free calls to your Orange Magic number, and you can add another friend every 6 months.
Is he stupid? Is he stupid? Darren!
That's okay. Okay. Just tell me all about it.
You've mentioned your mum someone you can talk to.
Every month, we need 2,000 people to volunteer for Childline. However you choose to support us, together, we will make child abuse stop. Full stop.
What? Feel you're in the wrong job? CompuTeach can help you train for a new career in IT that could totally change your life. It could lead to real job satisfaction, better pay, and better prospects. In fact, a better career's in reach with CompuTeach.
Training with CompuTeach has opened up a world of possibilities.
For me, distance learning was the perfect solution.
I feel like I've really achieved something.
I've already got a great job in IT and I'm still studying.
It's the best thing I ever did.
A better career's in reach with CompuTeach. Call 0800 657 657, visit computeach.co.uk or text Sky Sports to 64118.
Wherever my two go, they always create a stink. Thank goodness they invented new Airwick Odour Stop Trigger Spray. You see, it actually targets the acid that causes a stink. Oh! Airwick Odour Stop is a breath of fresh air. Airwick, it's good to be home.
Sophie said, if I don't do it now, if I don't go back to college, I might never do it. You know, it's a big decision now. It basically means you're going to have to support me for the next 3 years, so, you know, it needs to be a joint decision, but, you know, what do you think?
Terracotta?
Ladies and gentlemen, pray silence, please. The Big Tasty is now at McDonald's.
With the ING Direct Savings account, there are no catches. And you can move your money when you like. So you can relax with the world's leading direct savings bank. Call now or go online. ING Direct. It's your money we're saving.
15 rounds for the heavyweight championship of the world. Introducing the man who in the last year made the greatest comeback in ring history, James J. Braddock of Jersey City.
In this tale, there are no ugly sisters and no Prince Charming. Just a man off the streets with a little luck and a whole load of courage. The Cinderella Man charts the amazing story of James J. Braddock, family man and little-known fighter, through his rollercoaster ride to becoming heavyweight champion of the world. Braddock proved that hard work can lift you out of the gutter and into the limelight.
Cinderella Man, the real Jim Braddock story. Thursday at midnight on ESPN Classic.
Well, I imagine Aston Villa's new manager, Graham Turner, is looking forward to restoring that kind of atmosphere to Villa Park. They started their campaign against local rivals Coventry City, whose policy seems to be a change is as good as a rest. For today's team contained not one homegrown player. Your commentator at Villa Park is Alan Parry.
It's a sign of Aston Villa's decline that when championship contenders are mentioned, Their name is always left out, even though Villa are the only club to break Liverpool's monopoly of the title during the last 6 seasons. Well, they've turned to a new man to help restore those successful days, Graham Turner, who was hired during the summer from Shrewsbury Town on a 5-year contract. As yet, Turner has made no additions to the squad he inherited, and the only player not available today was the injured Gary Shaw, who won't in fact be fit until Christmas. It's a vital day for another victim of injury, Gordon Cowans, his first serious match for 15 months since breaking his right leg in 2 places. The visitors, Coventry City, field no fewer than 5 new players. Goalkeeper Steve Grisovic, defenders Kirk Stevens and Brian Kilcline, Martin Joel in midfield, and substitute Kenny Hibbett. They all joined during the summer to make Bobby Gould's total of transfer deals a staggering 38 in just over a year. The familiar face of referee Keith Hackett of Sheffield, who officiated at last week's Charity Shield at Wembley. Well, if Aston Villa could have picked a team to start a new season against, it surely would have been Coventry. Since returning to the First Division 9 years ago, they haven't lost a single league game against them, winning 10 and drawing 8. Coventry City are in a change strip of all yellow, the lighter strip. Aston Villa in their famous claret and blue, and this season they've returned to white shorts. An effective header by Foster. With Walters, McMahon, good clearance by Stevens, with Gibson for Villa. Nice combination with Walters, Gibson again. What a fine movement that was by Aston Villa, and Colin Gibson so close to the first goal of the season. It was Gibson who began that move, and he linked so well with Peter With. When Walters played the ball on a second time, Gibson was in the clear and struck his shot along the ground, but just wide. Withy did well. Bennett is clear of the fullback. He did the right thing, and the deflection, very nearly wrong-footed Mervyn Day. Withy was on the far post, and Bennett tried to pull it back to him, but it struck Gibson, and as Day was going one way, fortunately for Aston Villa, the ball went into the side netting. It could have gone into goal. Bremner clear. Joel. What a fine ball. Gin. Foster clear. Peak. Bennett is offside, and Foster lying injured. As the ball was played in, the Coventry players complaining. The linesman was ideally placed. Bennett offside, and Foster is injured. Foster fit to resume. Cowans. Williams. This is Bremner. And Mickey Ginn nicked the ball away from him, and the referee, Mr. Hackett, overrules his linesman, who actually gave the throw-in Coventry's way. Foster. Well, Steve Grisovic is something like 6 feet 5 inches tall, and just stood there, flicked that ball over. Any other type of goalkeeper, I think, not as big as him, might have found real problems then, as Foster lifted the ball high, and Grisovic just flicked it over for a corner. And Grisovic, despite a nudge from Peter With, again showing very safe handling. Indeed, the referee has said it was more than a nudge because he's given a free kick. Pierce. And Gibson's got away from Foster. Withy is in the middle, and Bennett is arriving. Withy came off Gibson. Williams. Walters. He against Peake, who looked to be holding him, and indeed that is given. But a moment or two ago, Gibson deceived Foster. As he curled his cross in, there looked to be danger for Aston Villa. They dealt with it well, and the immediate break has given them a free kick. Peter with. Joel. Forward by Pearce. Foster's header. Williams. Offside, Walters. Young Mark Walters is, I would think, in for one of his longer spells in the first team. Gary Shaw was telling me before the match that he doesn't expect to play because of injury until Christmas at least. Foster forward. Peake. Cowans. There's Mortimer. And Gibson. Coventry getting men behind the ball quickly. Cowans. Good skill. Gibson. And the header by Peter with the moment he delivered it, he knew it was going wide, but the build-up instigated by Gordon Cowans again. And the longer the game progresses, the more confident Cowans is looking, and the more his touch is returning, and that's good to see, not only for Aston Villa's sake, but for England. Foul by Kilcline on With again. And we're into the dying seconds of this first half. Cowans. And fitting the Cowans gets the final touch of the half because it's his ability which has enlivened an otherwise dullish half. Certainly very little by way of scoring opportunities. A couple of good saves by Grisovic. A deflection at the other end, which had Mervyn Day wrong-footed for a moment. But basically, two teams really just feeling their way into this new season. At half-time, Aston Villa 0, Coventry City 0. So Coventry start the second half, attacking the goal to the left. And incidentally, they start the season as the bookmakers' favourites to be relegated from the First Division. They've been proving them wrong, would you believe, for 17 years. It's one of the longest unbroken spells of any First Division club. And they start the second half with a corner. Williams tackle on this man Platt now. Good header by Mortimer, which has gone straight back to Ginn. Joe took that very casually, didn't he? Bit too casually. Failed to find Bennett. Cowans under pressure. The referee's given the free kick to Villa. Foul by Stevens. Once again, badly in need of some goal-mouth action to give the crowd something to enthuse over. Walters, beautiful skill. Peake sticks with him though. Oh, Walters superb. Bremner! Well, we were asking for goal-mouth action and we got it. But we also got some marvellous skills by this young man, Mark Walters. He took the ball down the left. He beat Peake once. Peake stuck to his job. He beat him again, and the cross was perfect. Almost dropped onto the head of Bremner, who nodded it into the corner for a fine goal. Aston Villa 1, Coventry City 0. And the skill of Mark Walters bringing the game to life. Here's Ginn. Foul by Foster. Ginn furious. Walters goes back now to defend. Scored a marvellous goal in Europe last season. He scored some marvellous goals. Remember another one in an FA Cup tie. And he proves, that was at Northampton, he proved here today that he can also create them as well as score them. Cowans, Mortimer. Cowans doing well. Oh, superbly. They took 3 of them to rob him. Oh, Bennett, good skill. Well, what a fine run by Bennett. Evans came in and got the worst of the tackle. And that was a lovely run by Bennett. And there's some really wild challenges going on in the middle of the field, which the referee must be aware of. Here's Ginn. Pearce. Cleared by Mortimer. Ginn. Bennett again. Ginn's cross. Pearce in there. Day takes it safely. And immediately turns defence into attack with the kick. That looked like a foul on Stevens. Play on, says Mr. Hackett. Foul by Stevens, I ought to have said, on Walters. Here's Bremner. Gibson's forward. Well, Gibson's furious with himself. And to be fair to him, it looked as though the ball might just have bobbled a little as he was about to hit it. It was certainly a lovely move. When the through ball came to him, he was in a good position. But his angle shot flew wide. And Coventry City are about to make a substitution. Kenny Hibbett, who arrived on a free transfer from Wolves. He played around 500 games for them. Takes the place of Graham Withey. Interesting to see how Coventry change things. That now looks to have pushed forward into Withey's striking position from midfield, with Hibbett slipping into his midfield role. Hibbett, Pearce. Good-looking cross, Bennett. He really ought to have scored. I'm sure he realises that, because the ball came to him in the perfect position. For one moment it looked as though it was nestling in the back of the net. Certainly some of the crowd thought so. But really, the cross was perfectly placed onto his head, and Bennett, in that position, ought to have scored. Walters. Klein did well. It's been a game which has ticked over rather than really come to life, apart from Walters' moment of skill and Bremner's goal. And here comes Bremner again. And if Igricevic hadn't snaked out that huge arm, Bremner might have had another header. Here goes Ginn. Cowans intercepts. Walters hesitated then, obviously trying to ensure he wasn't offside. Kilcline in trouble and brings down Mortimer. And of course, Kilcline was booked early on in this game. It was a very deliberate foul. Mortimer had just got away from him. Kilcline brought him down. Cowan's kick. Gibson forward, but too far. Cowans onto it. That was intelligent. And Igricevic dealt with it well. But the mark of a player whose thinking is one step ahead of the rest. He saw that Igricevic was off his line and immediately tried to place the ball over him. But Igricevic scrambled and made a good save. So the final 60 seconds of this opening league game here at Villa Park. And Villa looking good for a 3-point start, thanks to this man's cross. Walters, the man who scored the goals in the centre again, Bremner. And here he is. Good goalkeeping by Igricevic, who could be well pleased as Bremner crossed that ball That was a good stop by Grisovic, but he could be called into action again. McMahon. He nearly was. He judged it well. Two or three times in this game, Mark Walters' skills have produced good openings for Aston Villa, including the goal. Foster lets it run. Gibson. Now into injury time. Well, that was very nearly a point at which the game boiled over. Gibson getting a little angry. Foster came in, so did McMahon. That's it then. No one will pretend that it was a great game, but it was a winning start for Aston Villa thanks to Bremner's goal in the 6th minute of the second half, created by Mark Walters. A good start, 3 points for the new manager Graham Turner. For Coventry City, well, they ended up with 5 new players who all joined them during the summer. Clearly it's going to take time for them to gel into a team. Aston Villa will want to get better, and Coventry will want to get to know each other better. So on this opening day of the season, the final score at Villa Park, Aston Villa 1, Coventry City 0.
Well, not a lot in that game, I'm afraid. The goalkeepers were not nearly busy enough to satisfy me, and I trust that's not the case throughout the league. Quite a few managers have publicly resolved to be more positive, but it's easier to say it or write it than it is to break down an unimaginative defensive habits of the last decade or so. How's it gone generally, Bob?
Well, for Watford, who we saw earlier, some good and bad news tonight involving Maurice Johnston. He's off the transfer list at his own request, but could miss Tuesday's game against Queen's Park Rangers after injuring his knee at Old Trafford. Now, the bookies are usually shrewd judges, and according to them, the First Division Championship will be a straight fight between North and South, Liverpool and Manchester United versus Spurs and Arsenal. Well, we've already seen United drop 2 points after going ahead, and the same thing happened to favourites Liverpool and Arsenal. The reigning champions were 2-0 up after 24 minutes at Norwich, but despite missing a penalty, the home side drew level just after half-time, and 2 further penalties by new skipper Phil Neal for Liverpool and veteran Mick Shannon in the very last minute for Norwich left a final score of 3-3. Arsenal, in front of a 45,000 crowd at Highbury, also took the lead through Paul Mariner against one of the First Division newcomers, Chelsea. But Kerry Dixon picked up where he left off last season with an equaliser just 3 minutes later in the 38th minute. No hiccups for the other fancied contender, though, Tottenham Hotspur, who came from behind to beat cup holders Everton 4-1 at Goodison Park. Spurs' £1 million investment in Clive Allen and John Chidozie paid immediate dividends, Allen getting 2 goals and Chidozie 1, with Mark Falco their other scorer. New manager Peter Shreve said, "In 3 years as first-team coach, I can't remember us winning away by 4-1. The teamwork was very impressive." Quite a start that by Spurs when you remember they were without the injured Glenn Hoddle and Ozzy Ardiles. The only other away win in the First Division came from Newcastle United, another of the promoted clubs. They took the lead at Leicester after just 3 minutes, Steve Carney the scorer. David McCreary got their second, and although Gary Lineker twice equalised for Leicester, a goal 10 minutes from time by Chris Waddle ensured a happy trip home to the northeast for those marvellous Geordie fans. Equally impressive winners today, Sheffield Wednesday, the other team up from the second division. They beat the fancied outsiders for the title, Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest, 3-1. The goals coming from a Mel Sterland penalty, Imre Varadi and John Pearson, nearly 32,000 the crowd at Hillsborough. The side that finished runners-up last season, Laurie McMenemy's Southampton, got a shock at Sunderland. They also lost 3-1. In fact, England keeper Peter Shilton was beaten twice in the first 7 minutes. Gary Bennett and Barry Venison doing the damage. Mark Proctor made it 3-0 in the 70th minute before David Armstrong got a consolation goal a minute from time. Queen's Park Rangers gave new manager Alan Mullery a smashing start, 3-1 winners against West Bromwich Albion, with Simon Stainrod getting the first 2 goals. The remaining 2 First Division results saw Luton beat Stoke 2-0 and West Ham draw with Ipswich 0-0. Outside the First Division, there were 2 hat-trick men, Derek Hales of Charlton in the 3-0 win at Cardiff, and Tony Adcock in Colchester's 3-3 draw with Southend.
So a steady rather than a spectacular start to the season, but that's often the case in the heat and humidity of August. It'll be cooler, I assure you, at Stamford Bridge next Friday evening when we're able to offer you a seat to see Second Division champions Chelsea against FA Cup winners Everton, live at 7:05. And from what we saw last season, both these teams have got the message that there's no substitute for skill in the right place and at the right time. Mark Waters made that point today and earned Aston Villa 3 points as well. Good night.
It's again badly in need of some goalmouth action to give the crowd something to enthuse over. Walters, beautiful skill. Peake sticks with him though. Oh, Walters superb.